the most thrown around term ever made. But what does it actually mean? Well, depth refers to how deep you gotta build the well until you hit water. Wait. Wrong script, sorry. Ah, here it is. Depth in game design refers to the amount of choice that a player has at any given time. Basically, the more freedom you have to play a game in your own way, the more depth it has. It's pretty simple. It's not really that simple. Old games tend to have quite low depth. For example, in Donkey Kong, the only way you can dodge the barrels is by jumping. You either jump or die. There's just no choice there, so there's no depth. But all it takes is a few years before you see a game like Legend of Zelda. If you want to kill this guy, there's 100 ways to go about it. You can stab him, shoot him, light him on fire, blow him up, knock him out with a boomerang, vaporize him with magic. This game is, wow. But this isn't a good way of measuring depth. You can't just count how many options there are, because sometimes an option doesn't offer a choice. What I'm saying is that depth only exists when an option is worth taking. It's not a choice if you don't have a choice. That didn't make any sense. Let's look at Brawl. This game has nearly 40 characters, each brimming with individuality. There's Mario, who's your classic, easy to learn for newcomers. Pokemon Trainer is basically 3 characters in one. Pirate can copy moves from every other character in the game. Ganondorf is an exact copy of Captain Falcon, but we don't talk about Ganondorf. This roster gives you a crazy amount of choice, and that's before you even enter a match. Like, how could this game not have depth? Well, say you want to pick a character that can actually win. Goodbye! 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 In Brawl, there's only 2 characters that can really win. Like, only 2 characters out of 40 that have any chance at all. Well, more like 1.5. Meta Knight is just so much stronger than everyone else. It's so oppressive that you don't have much choice over who to play. You either pick Meta Knight or you lose. That doesn't sound like game depth to me. That sounds more like shame depth. Because you should be ashamed of what you did to Kirby. Look at him with the guy. He's so cute. When trying to figure out how much depth a game has, you need to consider every choice the player has at a given moment. You gotta look at every option of every tool in the player's toolkit. Duh. But you can also have choice within a single option, like a door that leads to more doors. This is called mechanical depth. A great example of traditional mechanical depth would be Flood from Sunshine. It's just one tool, but the amount of freedom it gives you is ludicrous. You can spray the ground to clean up gunk, then slide into the water to get a huge speedball, sleep out of the slide with a flip, switch knobs, fly, spin around a rope, launch yourself, fly again. You can equip rocket mode and disappear, or go turbo mode and run too fast, or go monkey mode and say It was made with absolutely no restraint whatsoever, and while that led to it being a very deep mechanic, it also made it very difficult to design levels around. Sunshine's levels are... They're like ugh. It's pretty common knowledge that Sunshine has some awful levels. Like, there's the Chucksters, who just kill you. There's the Dumb Bird, who basically, it just kills you. Oh, there's the Lava Bolt, which if I had to describe it, I'd say it kills you. Oh, and then there's the Pachinko level. Okay, the Pachinko one actually just kills you.
Oh my god! Are you fucking kidding me? What happened? What happened?
These levels are not good, and Flood is a big reason why. It gives the player too much power, and while that is kind of fun, it also makes it really hard to design levels around, which is why Sunshine ends up with some really sour ones.
Oh, what the?
It's clear that this game was an experiment to see how far they could push the main mechanic, and while they definitely broke a few eggs in the process, they also created one of the deepest mechanics seen in gaming to this day. It's a shame the levels suck.
He said shit! Oh my god!
Mario Galaxy released 5 years after Sunshine, and it did so with the complete opposite design philosophy. Its new mechanic is the twirl, which doesn't do much. It's kind of like a mini jump you can hit guys with. It certainly seems regressive when compared to the endless freedom of Flood. Like, it's just... That's it? Really? But the twirl secretly has just as much depth as Flood, and there's not some fancy movement you can do with it either. It's really just as simple as... So, what's the trick? Twirl into a launch star, it shoots you another world. If you twirl into this little plant, it stretches out and hits an enemy. If you twirl next to this flower, you start spinning up into a launch. If you twirl on this screw, it gets flattened. If you twirl this thing, it sends an electric shockwave. If you twirl with the this and it changes gravity. Twirl the drill and go through the planet. Twirl the cloud and you get a platform. If you twirl into the red star, it's sort of similar to Monkey. Sunshine's advanced movement ends up ruining its stages, so Galaxy simplifies its moveset in order to focus on polished level design. Because of this, the twirl gains its depth in a weird way, not through how it interacts with the world, which is traditional, but from how the world interacts with it. This is called external depth. It might seem kinda backwards and... I mean, it is literally backwards. But external depth has quite a lot of advantages. Galaxy has an extreme level of variety because its levels don't just change the obstacles. Each level means a completely new toolkit for the player. There's the bee level, where you play as a bee. The cloud level, where you play as a cloud. Oh, the level where Mario died. The only reason that Galaxy can make levels in this way is because its depth is external. Another advantage is that you don't have to worry about the player abusing your abilities. Their abilities. You made them, but it belongs to them. They can't fly over your whole level and skip everything if you don't give them the flying ability. This is both good and bad. While taking away the player's abilities makes it much easier to create streamlined levels, it comes at the cost of their freedom. It can be a lot of fun to get creative and figure out an alternate solution to a level, but since Galaxy only gives you the tools it wants you to have, your creativity is greatly limited. You're always forced into the intended experience, for better and for worse. So, am I saying that internal depth is better than external depth? Not really. The problem with Sunshine's internal depth is that Flood is so powerful, it's boring. I mean, it lets you fly over everything. There's no challenge there, no creativity. Where's the fun in that? Like, where's the game? The Lion game. What is the Lion game? What does this have to do with Mario Odyssey? Mario Odyssey's main mechanic is Cappy, who is a stock example of internal mechanical depth and the perfected form of Sunshine's Flood. Cappy gives you so much freedom. I mean, you can throw him, roll into him, bounce off of him, throw him again in midair, dive into him for a double jump, send him up, down, around, along. You can use him as a weapon, you can use him to stall in the air, you can use him to move faster and further and higher, you can use him to write a non sequitur. And this is why Mario Odyssey is a masterpiece. The developers take the idea of freedom that made Flood so compelling and streamline it into a much more direct, more elegant form. By doing this, they foster an even higher level of depth than Flood without giving the player too much power. While Cappy is more varied than Flood, he's also more limited. If you want to use him to skip an obstacle, then you'll have to learn and master his movement, a sharp contrast to Flood where you just hold down one button. Being creative in Odyssey is an accomplishment as it requires dedication and practice. If you want to subvert the rules of the game, then you have to be better than it. Your freedom isn't just given to you, it has to be earned. Thus, once you do, it feels like your own.
Oh! Let's go! Yes! Yes!
Sounds fun, right? Huh? What do you mean it's not the right script? Hold on. Oh, crap. Sorry. What I meant to say was... Mario Odyssey's main mechanic is Cappy, who is a stock example of external mechanical depth and the perfected form of Galaxy's twirl. The whole gimmick of Odyssey is utilizing Cappy to steal the power of your enemies. In one level you can turn into a frog, the next into a chain chomp, into a T-Rex or a trampoline you can turn into a fork and fling yourself, or into a pole and fling yourself, or into a bird and fling yourself, or into a tank and blow stuff up, or into Kevin Hart and blow guys up. And this is why Mario Odyssey is a masterpiece. The developers take the diversity that made Galaxy so compelling and upgrade it into a more interesting, more liberating version. Galaxy is great because you can become an onion, right? But Odyssey is great because once you become an onion, you realize how many possibilities you've just opened up for yourself. You're still sometimes forced into being a frog, or a fish, or a bird, but Odyssey gives each individual transformation so much depth that every new enemy is a whole new world of options to explore. Sounds fun, right? Now hold on, do I have the wrong script again? What? I don't understand. These are the only two scripts I have and you're telling me they're both wrong? But they were both so wise and convincing. Well, what do I do now? Do I just end the video? Wait, what are they doing? What's happening? Whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. They fused! That's impossible! Or at the very least inappropriate. Cappy's advanced movement is internal depth, like Sunshine's Flood, but way cleaner. The capture ability is external depth, like Galaxy's Twirl, but with far more freedom. Either of these arguments would easily prove that Mario Odyssey is a masterpiece, but it does both at once. It does both of their specialities at once, and does each of them better than the original. That makes it like a mega masterpiece. Mega, mega, mega! But that's not actually the real reason that Mario Odyssey is a masterpiece. It's not the real, the for real reason. The total it's not the actual real for real reason, which is that you can be a tree